you're learning how to play guitar, either going at it self-taught online or perhaps with a private teacher, you probably already realized that aside from an excellent guitar curriculum, the other thing you need, the other thing that's really important, is learning how to play songs. And this stands true for learning rhythm guitar, for learning riffs, and especially for learning guitar solos. So on this week's Guitar Blog Insider, we're going to discuss the idea of how to develop an excellent way that you can use to zero right in on a piece of music and over a short period of time learn every section and segment of the piece so that your working knowledge of the song is at a really high level of awareness. Well, once you've selected the song that you're going to make a study of, you can take a few minutes and check online to find out if there's a chart, a tab, or perhaps a lyric and chord sheet that somebody has already created. Now, granted, at this stage of the game, whatever you get, it could have errors. There could be mistakes in it. And if you get really lost in trying to figure it out, maybe it's a good idea to hire a guitar teacher or maybe just some musician that you know of who's better than you. Perhaps shoot them 10 or 20 bucks, whatever, give them a little bit of money to help you along and get you started in this process, because if your skills are really weak in understanding things like this, it's just going to be so helpful to spend, an hour or two with a professional musician, and they're going to bring you up to speed very quickly with this information. And, what you want to do, though, is get some kind of layout of the song so you understand its general setup. And it's going to be really good to help you get started with that piece. So for our example, what I'm going to use is a song called Historia de Amor. It's by Louis Miguel. That's the version we're going to be using. It's covered by quite a few people, but we'll use the Louis Miguel version. And to get started, I've located a chart off of Ultimate Guitar of the lyrics and chords. Now, these are really popular, and it's a great place to start. However, what you're going to find out is that the lyric and chord charts, and even some of the basic tab charts that you'll find, they won't start exactly where the recording starts. You could be out by 10 seconds or, maybe it's 15 or 20 seconds into the song. That's where the first chord or the first riff or the idea comes in. Could even just have a little bit of drums or a little bit of synth or something starting the song off, creating an intro. And then when that first chord is coming in, you got to find out in the piece exactly where that is. So, you don't want to get stuck trying to comprehend exactly where things are going to begin in the chart in relation to the recording. Figure that out up front. And this is where it's extremely important to start logging the time of the piece, which also means that it's really helpful to have actually downloaded the audio. So whether that's an MP3 or whatever, but have the audio on your computer and bring it into your favorite audio workstation. I would probably suggest maybe not using iTunes or Windows Media Player. I'd probably go with some kind of program on Apple. You could use GarageBand, or you could even use Audacity. That's a good general program to do work like this in. I'm going to be using Adobe Audition, and it's a really good program. Now, it's kind of expensive to buy it, but it's a really good one for just, splicing into certain sections, dropping the cursor down at exact points, and you can keep track of the time and everything. So what I'm saying is have an audio workstation, get that MP3 or whatever file, audio file, bring it into your computer, find the time of exactly where that chart that you have lines up with the beginning of the song, and you're pretty much starting to get ready to begin working on your piece.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is go looking for a chart. We want to get some kind of a chart together and understand what's going on. Most songs out there on ultimateguitar.com will at least have a lyric sheet. I just did a search here in the search function for the tune and came back with all these hits. This is the one I'm looking for, the Louis Miguel version. Seems to be a pretty good chart. It's got almost a 5-star rating. And here we go. Here is the chart. And, it's not English, but if you understand Spanish, you'll understand what's going on with the tune. And the idea, though, is to just have the chart in front of us so that we can use it to go against the MP3 and understand where the tune comes in. We want to know really where these lyrics and this chord enter, because we have some things going to be going on up front. Even if it's something as simple as a drum fill or whatever, there's going to be something up front. We want to know when to begin playing. So if you have your MP3 or you've purchased a song off iTunes or what have you, you can always go to your audio editor now and start finding, in the beginning of the track, where exactly the tune begins. Now, from what I remember, I think this tune begins around 28 or 29 seconds. Somewhere in here is where it actually, fires up. So what I'm going to do is, look for that and mark it on my chart. And then as things progress and I strum through, I want to find out where all the other sections come in. Where do the verses end? Where do the choruses come in? And I'm going to make notes, and understand how many times things go by, and really just double check how the chords are set up, because these chord changes here, they're going to be very specific in how they're going to be landing in the tune. I have this, verse and verse 1, verse 2, this refrain, like there's some markings here on this chart, but I'm just not exactly sure how many times all these chords are going to get played. I could have this A minor chord performed for 2 measures, but looking at the lyric sheet here, I have no idea. I don't know what the beats are or anything. So we want to go from something like this over to understanding more detail, and we also want to double check the lyric sheet that we're getting off of, let's say, Ultimate Guitar or whatever. We want to check it for errors, and make sure that everything is accurate, and that maybe they're saying it's a D minor, but who knows, maybe that chord's an F major. I don't know. We'll find out as we go. We'll analyze it and get it all sorted and make the comparisons over to what's happening when we're listening to it on our MP3.
So the next thing I suggest setting out on doing is working on counting through the beats of the song and really establishing the amount of measures as well as how long each chord will last. And this is going to give you basically the song's layout. And the main idea here is to form a concept of the length of the verse. Maybe the verse is 8 bars. Maybe there's a bridge and it's 4 bars. Then you'll have a chorus. Maybe the chorus is 4 bars or 6 bars or 8 bars. Work it all out and then find out how many times they repeat so you can create the layout or the form of the piece. And that's so valuable because once that's established, you're going to next want to move into mapping this all out on your own sheet of paper, because those lyric and chord sheets that you'll get off of places like Ultimate Guitar and everything, they don't really show you how many beats or how many measures are going to be involved in those different chords. They'll a lot of times just show you the lyrics and have the words, and it'll say D minor and B dominant 7th or whatever over top of those chord changes, and you'll be sort of left of thinking, well, exactly how many times am I going to be strumming this chord, or how many beats is this chord going to last? So you get a little bit lost on it, but by creating your own lead sheet of those chord changes, you're going to be right on the mark. You'll fully understand how to count through that tune, and it's going to be a lot easier. Now at this point, you can organize the times also for where each section comes in, and that's going to be related back to the audio track. So whether you got an MP3 or a WAV file or whatever it is, that you're going to be going and setting up that information. So you'll say maybe the intro, is 20 seconds long, and then you have your first chord shows up at 21 seconds, and then by the time the verse is done, you're at 54 seconds, and you know what I mean? And file it all out across every one of those sets changes of those sections and know exactly what's going on. With that information there, you're going to be able to work on developing your skills for making some effective chord changes at that point. Do it in time with the song, and if you find that your skills are a little weak, sometimes you can't keep up to those chord changes, making the switch from one chord to the next. If you can't do the changes in time to the album speed, then slow down the song. Almost every audio workstation will be able to slow down audio tracks for you. I got to admit, though, over the years, I have found that the software made by, I can't remember the company that makes it, but it's called RiffStation. This thing, to me, it just works the best for slowing a track down, and it still maintains really high quality audio on the playback.
All right, so now that you've organized your MP3, you've organized your lyric sheet, you started to work out times in the piece where the verses and choruses land, and you've got a lot of your markings done. The next step that I would want to suggest doing is to go to work and fire up something like Finale. I have this tune in Finale here. I've all charted it out and everything, and then you can make a final PDF. I've created a PDF here. I've got my times logged, where everything is coming in, and I've also figured out a rhythm guitar strumming pattern, and I'm going to keep things simple in this tune and just use the same pattern throughout the whole piece. But now you can tell there's that A minor chord. I had something in the back of my mind telling me that it was longer, and you can tell it's 2 bars here. Single bar for the D minor, single bar for the E dominant 7th. Same thing across this line when we're dealing with the G and the F major and the E7 and the E major coming in there. You notice I put these double bar lines indicating the end of a section, so I know where my sections end. There's the next section coming in at 48 seconds. I can have everything marked. One day if I want to just work on my rhythm guitar skills and work on the first section of the tune, the verse, I know it comes in at 24 seconds. I can cue my audio workstation up right there. Okay, now I have it at 20, but I can go right up to 24. Queued up right there, and I can start working, and I can fire it up every day at that point. And then when I get that section all worked out and it's really good, I can move on to 48 seconds, because I know at 48 seconds that's the next part of the piece that I need to get some good work into, and begin developing the chord changes and everything for that section of the song. So this can also work very well for doing guitar solos. You have a guitar solo, get it all sorted out, print it out, put it on the music stand in front of you, begin getting your times all sorted out of where everything's coming in on the piece, so that if there's sections of the tune that are really challenging, you can zero in on those very quickly every day. You just come to your computer, fire up your workstation, drop the cursor down at whatever time frame, and then right then and there you can start working on the part that you want to develop. It just being organized like this just shaves hours of time off. It's like speed learning concepts. So you just sit down, you get to work right away. You utilize the most effective use of your time. You get lots done, and it's just fantastic for going through the process like this to learn a piece of music. You will learn it so much faster, and you'll have much more concrete understanding of how everything works with the tune.
Well, after learning the chord changes and how long they last, the next idea is going to be to establish a decent feel for the rhythm guitar of the piece. Now, most folk songs and country songs, as well as a lot of pop tunes and all that, they tend to have a fairly consistent rhythm, which means, once you get started into that tune, you've been, rhythm guitaring it out through that tune, it's probably going to be pretty consistent through the verses and choruses, and if there's a bridge or whatever. I mean, things can change a little bit. You might have some chords sustaining, or the rhythm pattern might get very simplistic for a moment, but you have to kind of establish how the main strum pattern is and how it fits across a piece. And, I would even say probably a good idea would be to notate it, to grab a piece of paper, even if you have to kind of make up your own chicken scratch to understand what's going on with the piece. And if you can't do that, you should be able to do that, but if you can't do that, maybe something to work on, but grab your phone at least and, record yourself playing some kind of consistent rhythm that you're going to establish for that tune you're working on, and then keep it, going from day to day as you're practicing the tune. And as you are moving along with this system, the final piece of the puzzle really is to get into some leads or maybe some fillers that are done on guitar, so that you can begin, working on that aspect that you're playing with the song as well. Now, some songs have really simple lead ideas, like Tom Petty just unfortunately passed away, and I was doing a lot of his songs lately. He has this tune called Into the Great Wide Open, and you just look it up, just go Tom Petty on YouTube or something, check it out. It's a very simple solo. I think it's only around 4 bars. Another song that's like that too is the song Day Tripper by the Beatles. Another sort of 4-bar solo section, very short, only a few measures there to learn. And, that's probably a great direction to go if you're just getting into soloing. Learn songs like that. However, there's going to be other styles of music that, maybe take AC/DC, for instance. Angus Young is usually ripping out some pretty long solos. So there's a great way to keep track of everything using our time method, Maybe that solo starts at 1 minute and 57 seconds into the tune, and then each night that you sit there and practice it, or each day that you're working on that tune, maybe you can make a note to yourself on your chart that you got up to 2 minutes and 18 seconds, and then maybe 2 minutes and 24 seconds or whatever. Just you're plotting it out as you go. Each day you come back to work on that solo, you can go right back on that MP3 or audio track that you're working on and just zero right in at that specific time. It's a great way to practice tunes there. And regardless, just make sure you have all your timestamps together for the verses, solos, bridges, choruses. That way, each time you work on that song or that piece, you're going to be able to quickly find the section that you're working on. You're going to be able to get right down to work on it very easily. All right, so let's recap this entire method, the whole process. It starts out by selecting your song, of course, and then get a copy of that song on audio. Bring it into your favorite audio workstation, and then get a copy of some kind of chart, whether it's a lyric sheet, a tab chart, whatever you can find. You can just hit Ultimate Guitar. That's a great resource. And then understand, once you got that song chart in front of you, understand where the chart begins. Mark down the time of the first chord's entry. Maybe the first chord starts at 27 seconds or something like that. And then map out the measures and create your own personalized lead sheet. Grab a separate piece of paper, it's just basic staff paper, and start mapping that out so you fully comprehend exactly what's going on with how long you're going to play all those chords. Maybe they last a measure, maybe they last 2 measures, but you're going to work all that out on your own personalized lead sheet. Then what you're going to want to do is organize the chords and get them all charted out into their sections so that you know exactly that that's the verse chords, that's the bridge, that's the chorus, and have it all mapped out and logically oriented, and then go and stamp out the time for each section. Maybe the chorus happens at 1 minute and 42 seconds or something. You have to pencil all that in, get everything mapped well and good enough so you are going to have some sections you can leap over into to begin your daily practice onto those sections of the piece where you're developing. Now, when you start your study on the tune, you want to begin with understanding all the chord strumming ideas, get the rhythm guitar parts together first. It's so important to do that. And then play through the rhythm guitar. Now, here's where you may need to slow it down. So you get a program like Audacity or GarageBand, or you could use Riff Station. It's really good for slowing songs down. And then, if the song has a solo, you want to note the time of entry of the solo so when you begin working on that, it's going to be something really easy for you, because after the rhythm changes are done, you can focus all your attention onto that lead part. So if the lead part's simple, it's 4 bars, mark it out, exactly where that comes in. Maybe the solo happens at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So you mark that in, and then every day that you're working on that solo might take you 1 or 2 sessions to get the solo down. If it's easy, might take you a whole week if it's a solo by Eddie Van Halen or something. So, map that out, get all your timestamps through there, work on the solo, and then the next thing is once the solo's completed, you got all the rhythm guitar tracks down, everything's mapped out, you got your lead sheet, all that stuff. It's time to work on trying to perform that song right from the beginning and right out to the very end, and your goal is to reach the original album tempo. Now, of course, again, if the song's tough and there's so many parts to it, it's just driving you crazy, you're probably going to have to maybe slow that tune down. So if you have a good audio workstation, that's not going to be a problem. Just dial it back, 10-20% in speed, and you should be able to find that zone where you can actually play along with the album version. Well, I'd like to end by just saying thanks for joining me. If you want to learn more about what I do as an online guitar teacher, then head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for your free lifetime membership. When you want more, you can always upgrade to either a basic or a premium lesson package and start studying the guitar courses I've organized for the members of my website. Also, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on all this in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next week on another episode of the Guitar Blog Insider.
When it comes to online guitar lessons, there's no place better than creativeguitarstudio.com. General membership to the site is always free, and paid memberships to access our step-by-step beginner, intermediate, and advanced guitar programs are offered in reasonable monthly and annual packages. Skype lessons are also available if you need more specific instruction one-on-one to discuss the finer details of your guitar playing. Sign up today at creativeguitarstudio.com.
I've got 25 years experience teaching guitar and have written a well-organized step-by-step guitar course. Head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for a free membership today. Join the thousands of members worldwide who have already enrolled. There's no need to try learning the guitar on your own. Let me help you become the best guitar player that you can be.